Chapter 62. All right, so we're dealing with a couple of American experimentalists or avant garde composers. We deal with John Cage and George Crumb. And as much as I love George Crumb, and I really, really do, he's a wacky, wacky dude. I'm going to spend the majority of the time talking about John Cage. If you do like George Crumb, though, let me suggest go to YouTube and look up Black Angels. It is some serious creepy music for electrified string quartet. Just listen to a few of the pieces and try to figure out how George Crumb decided how to write all of these sounds down on paper. It's amazing music. Very weird, very creepy, very out there. It's definitely worth taking a look. But John Cage is the guy I want to spend the majority of the time talking about for several reasons. First of all, he's a seriously important American composer, not only in the history of Western music, but specifically to American classical music and classical composers, such as myself. He's looked upon kind of as this grandfather, or at least uncle figure, that helps us redefine and reimagine and reprocess cerebrally what music is and what music can be. He taught at a brand new school of music for avant-garde sound at Stony Brook in New York, outside of New York City, where he taught the idea that all sound production is music. So me clapping my hands, I just made music. Maybe I burp and I make music. I squeak my chair. My phone goes off. All of that's music to John Cage. The whole world of sound is music. So music for John Cage is just the production of sound. So that's a brand new thought process of the 20th century. He also studies music that is non-Western, specifically Eastern music, African music. And in fact, you get a taste of that in this chapter with his sonatas and interludes for prepared piano. So he invents a new instrument. He takes the piano, basically F's it up by putting things in between the strings, screws, erasers, pieces of rubber, paper at times. And what happens is you play the keys, the white and black keys, like normal. You read the music like normal, but the sounds that come out don't sound like a piano. In this case, it's meant to sound like a Javanese gamelan ensemble. If you don't know what gamelan is, reread this chapter, head over to YouTube again, look it up. It's a funky, funky ensemble as well that comes from the East, in Java and Bali. So this is John Cage's approach. Now, some other things I want you to check out. Go to YouTube. I'm serious. I will judge you if you don't do this. I'm joking. Go to YouTube, look up John Cage, Water Walk. He performs a piece on national television, live television, and it's all different sounds of water. There's a blender as an instrument. There's a tub full of water. There's a vase. There's a flower, like a water pot. That's part of the instruments. There's 5 radios that, for whatever reason, he wasn't able to turn on as the piece originally is written because there was a boycott over who could have the signal on live TV. So he would just hit them and make noise. So check out that piece. You'll get another sense into what John Cage is about. And he gives one of his most famous quotes during this live performance as well. The host is saying, the audience is filled with, good people, and they're going to think this is weird, and they're going to laugh at you. And John Cage says, well, I prefer laughter to tears. It's a great quote about modern music. At least laugh at it. Enjoy it for what it is rather than crying. So that's another thing about John Cage that is great. Check it out. Seriously. Water Walk, John Cage, YouTube. You'll find it. It's amazing. Finally, I have to tell you about John Cage from a personal note. I think this guy is like the ultimate hustler. He wrote a piece called 4 minutes and 33 seconds. 4'33 quotations, right? 4 minutes, 33 seconds. It's 3 movements, just like a concerto, except it can be played on any instrument. The first movement is exactly 2 minutes long. The second movement is exactly 2 minutes long. And the last minute is 33 seconds long. Here's what's on the page. A staff, 5-line staff, a rest in the middle with what we call a fermata over top. It looks like a bird's eye. And what a fermata does is it tells you to do this a whole lot or hold this for a long time. So if you put a regular note, you hold the note longer than it normally should be held. If you put a rest, which means be silent, it means you be silent for a long time. So here's a rest, the fermata that says do that a lot, and then above that, 2 minutes for the first movement. So that means the performer comes out, opens the keyboard to the piano, let's say, puts their hands on the key, and sits there for exactly 2 minutes using a timer. Then they put their hands down, they do it again, 2 minutes, they do it again. Look up performances. My favorite performance on YouTube is the death metal cover of 4 minutes, 33 seconds. It's amazing. Just do it. But when you listen to it, tell me what you hear. Technically, for us, you don't hear any pitches. There's no music. But that's what John Cage is getting you to rethink. All the extraneous sounds. Maybe you can hear my dishwasher in the background. Or my baby upstairs who's a little fussy right now. Or maybe you hear when I move my chair or bounce on my desk. All of those sounds are part of what he wants you to recognize. So if you're in a concert hall watching 4 minutes and 33 seconds, you hear that little old lady in the background unwrapping her peppermint. That's part of the piece. You hear the traffic. Maybe you're at Carnegie Hall in New York. You hear the traffic outside of that concert hall in busy downtown Manhattan. All sound is music. And what he's saying in this piece is open your ears. Music is all around you if you just hear it. Now back to him being the ultimate hustler. So you can buy this piece of music, the score to 433, which is literally just a blank piece of paper with just a few lines and a rest and a fermata. But basically there's no notes. It's an empty piece of paper. You can buy it for $9.99. This dude has been making money off a blank piece of paper for 70 years. Dude's been dead for a while. His family is making money off of a blank piece of paper. I'm telling you, 1 million copies of this piece is sold every year. Honestly, I have a framed and autographed copy of the score in my office because I'm that much of a dork. Now, granted, it's signed, so mine's actually worth a little something. But still, I bought the piece because it's 433. It's that important. It changes what our concept of what music can be. And this guy, tell me that's not a hustler move. Blank piece of paper, let's make $10 a pop for 70 years. We're going to be into money. Pretty cool. Check out the next chapter.